second. No. There we go. Long arm 12, I need those. Jab range, I don't need that. Cast damage, I shouldn't need that. Oh, I have 2 of those, that's interesting. A color change. Ooh, I can get 1 token for the thingy thing. That should only take like 2 or 3 games. It's like one of the easiest. It's like one of the easiest challenges too. That's not bad. Actually, something that I could do. No thanks. Sorry, people. I'm gonna have to start. I'm gonna have to start blocking some invites, I think. Ooh, okay. Onslaught. Is that the same guy who plays War Robots? Or played War Robots? It'd be interesting to know. For a little bit. Am I okay with hiding under here until... Oh, Onslaught's playing with Count Mecula. Fair enough. Blunt-tastic. Oh, Blunt was just inviting me to a match. Eh. Nothing more boring than playing in a squad against a bunch of bots, though, to be completely fair. So, I'm good. Fine. Fair enough. The Ratatouille. How can you play with me? Well, in general, now that I have my Facebook linked, I would allow anybody to send me a friend invite on Facebook. But it does not necessarily mean that I play with everybody all the time. In fact, I very rarely play in squads, regardless of who I'm friends with. I don't usually play in squads with my clan. I don't usually play in squads with anybody, and the reason's because there's just so many bots in the game that makes it kind of boring. Not gonna lie. Yeah. Aw. Makes it kind of boring to play in squads. Like I can understand like the merit behind it a little bit, but in general, it's not like the thing that I really want to do. You know, like I don't get hyped about playing in a squad just because. Game can already be kind of easy. But if you're in my list, I will I'll play with you on stream, I suppose. Gaming Zone, hello. Yeah, so I'm starting an hour earlier than normal. I don't know if any of you guys saw the post that I made yesterday, but yeah, I mean, in terms of things, probably a lot less people see the posts than they see of, like, you know, the streams or the videos or whatever. So I should probably just assume that you didn't see the post. But yes, there was a poll that I made a while back being like, you know, if I were to move my streams and videos forward or backward like an hour or two, what would you guys prefer? And basically everybody said that they would prefer it a little bit earlier, which is what I was hoping, because I genuinely was not going to push it later, even if that's what people preferred, because this 11 a.m. was like kind of already a little bit later. Did you play T3 too? Nice. I haven't played T3 in a while, not gonna lie. It's not really my type of game. And it might just be because it takes a while for me to kind of get used to it. Because, full disclosure, you know, even when I first started Mech Arena, after playing War Robots for so long, I was just so used to War Robots. So when I first started Mech Arena, you know, I played it for like a week, and then I stopped for like 3 months, and I didn't play it for like 3 months. In fact, I didn't play basically anything for like 3 months. And then I came back to it because I was bored at one point, and I was like, yeah, you know, this isn't too bad. But yeah, I think if I were to completely stop playing Mech Arena and then wait a few months, like a month or two, or get bored, then I would probably pick up T3 and I would probably like it a lot more. But as it is, I don't like it that much. I'm not gonna lie. DJ, hello. Is Railgun 16 good? Yes. It's in the top 5 weapons for sure. As you definitely want it as a free-to-play too, because it'll be one of your more powerful weapons. Well, I mean, technically Railgun's more powerful than, like, I consider it more powerful than like Arc Torrent and Missile Rack, but it might not be as powerful as Arc Torrent at this point, I suppose. I came too late. Or you came late too, had breakfast? Oh, okay. It's pretty much the best weapon. Yeah. It's like the 3rd best weapon. Because Disc Launcher and Rocket Motor are better only because of the pilot implants. It's the sort of thing that you don't really need a pilot for, and that's nice. So that means, you know, it's very likely to stay as good as it is for a very long time, regardless of any kind of, like, potential future pilot reworks, I guess you could say. King Bruce, hello. How am I? I am doing alright. I'm a little bit tired, though. You'll probably rejoin Mech Arena eventually. I mean, I wouldn't really blame you if you didn't, to be completely honest. I think that the game is slowly going downhill. It's unfortunate it's unfortunate for them, because I don't think that it was anything that they did that made Mech Arena not take off. I think global launch was their big chance. It was kind of like their last hurrah. If a game doesn't get a lot of hype when it first comes out, like typically the most amount of like hype behind a game is when it first comes out, and then it kind of just goes down from there. So when the global release came and it was just kind of not received super well, partially because of like, I'm sure there were like starting of like issues between Russia and Ukraine. I'm sure there was like COVID, and that was causing problems, and there was all these different issues that was just like super unfortunate circumstances. And it just happened to not take off, even though I genuinely believe that it very well could have taken off. It just didn't. And it's kind of sad, but I don't think it's going to get any more popular than it is right now, to be completely honest. I'm sure more people will download it over time, because that's, how games work. Lots of people download it, but I don't think the general player base is really going to increase. You're coming after 20 minutes? Okay. Ruffles, I'm in the car and captions turned off. Can you use live chat? No. No, I am not typing in live chat. Feel free to just wait until you get home and then join the stream or something. Or wait until you get in wherever you're going. It's no worries. Somnath, hello. Void Scorpion. Yes, you can ask me a question. Yeah, I labeled the stream Ask Me Anything. Absolutely. Anything about the game that you want to know. I am very certain that at this point I either know everything or I can find out whatever it is that I don't know off the top of my head very quickly. There are like one or two things that I couldn't definitively answer, but I really do want to know for myself if there's like any kinds of questions that any of you guys have that I actually can't answer, but I don't really think there are at this point. I have done so many tests, I have run so many statistics, it's absolutely ridiculous. So yes, ask me anything about the game. Yeah, it's pretty much all questions with some gameplay. Most people on my friends list quit. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I forgot I had headphones, one sec. Wait, are you gonna wear headphones in the car? Because that's a really bad idea. Please don't do that. Well, if you're in the car, if you're driving, then that's a bad idea. If you're just in the car, then that's fine. But if you are the one driving, do not ever do that, because that's really dangerous. When will Lancer bots start using their jump ability? They will not. And the reason is because bots do not fully understand there is no general benefit to a jump. There is a tactical benefit to a jump, but there is no general benefit to a jump. And bots don't use tactics. They activate their ability when someone's in range. They activate their ability when someone starts shooting at them. They activate their ability as soon as they spawn, in some cases, like Cheetah. And they just keep playing it every time their ability comes back.
immediately dump their mines. As soon as their ability comes back, immediately dump their mines, and that's just the way that the ability works, the way that the AI is coded. But there is no overall benefit. You can't avoid fire. Really, you can't avoid most fire by jumping, I should say. So jumping doesn't really get you anything every time. So there is no scenario in which the bot AI actually thinks that it's a good idea to jump, so they literally never will. Missed Sunday stream. No worries. Yeah, I think the Sunday stream got cut off, and then, like, yeah, there's all kinds of... I had internet issues that day, so it wasn't awesome. How to get free Acoins? Well, you can participate in giveaways. I am actually going to do my first Acoin giveaway tomorrow, so get ready for that. I was going to do it yesterday, but I was not feeling well. Should I start rank upgrading Juggernaut or MD? Well, between the two, Juggernaut's more generally useful, but I don't think you necessarily want either. You're riding, not driving. Okay, good. I was gonna ask you that. Aditya, hello. Jumping doesn't get you anything if you're playing against bots because they got 100% accuracy. Well, there's, again, yeah, like I was saying, like, there's a tactical advantage to jumping, but it is not a... It's not an immediate and general advantage, you know? It's not like Zephyr Freeze, where, you know, you do it as soon as someone's in range. There's an immediate benefit to doing it because someone's in there, you're going to freeze someone, therefore, you know, benefit. But they don't know enough to say, you know, if there's one person in their range and then one person's like just out of their range, the AI doesn't know enough to walk toward the second guy to freeze them both. They just freeze the first guy because they go by immediate advantage, not by tactical advantage. Is Jav 8 coming to what? I don't think they're adding anything to the progress path. From the way things sound, they're going to completely rework the progress path at some point, but it is not any kind of priority for them. So mostly it's just going to be like Acoin events, token events, all that stuff. They've been doing some like derby events where you get certain things. So, you know, maybe you get Jav 8 from that, but it's been a long time since I even saw Jav 8 on anything. Customs are fun, but the only way to progress is buying or grinding, and grinding is really boring because there's not enough weapons, mechs, maps, and there's bots who use the same thing every time. Agreed. Yep. I mean, bots just need to not be in the game. If you want a good, competitive, interesting like PvP game, bots need to not exist. But since bots exist, it becomes not a fun and competitive PvP game. It becomes a, you know, it becomes more of a casual PvE game where people get, you know, personally offended when the bot kills them one time, even though they just finished ruining like 5 bots in a row. And they're like, bots are too strong! Compunder, you want to play? Are you in my friends list on Facebook? I'll play in a squad with people who are watching. Like in Acoin Crate, Brahmsha. For Jav 8, I don't know when they're ever going to like release that again, but I imagine at some point they'll make another like Acoin event. Manfred, hello. does the matchmaking work? Does Division 5 mean anything, or does power level mean anything? It is a combination of your squad power and your XP level. If you go to your profile. See, well, hold on. Well, I guess my XP level will be up here. So, my XP is max, and it's been that way for a while. Once you get to like the end of the progress path, you just keep getting this random reward. It just keeps filling up and then resetting, and you just keep getting that for forever. But this is as high as you can get it for XP, and my SP at the moment is like 5,600. So matchmaking takes both of those things into account. I don't know exactly what determines whether or not it puts you against a player, whether or not it puts you against just a full game of bots. There's a lot of things that go into it, and it's a lot more complicated than people want to think that it is. I know that it sounds like it's super simple, right? It sounds like, well, you know, you just put people with the same squad power together and then you'll be fine. But then arises, okay, hold on. I'm gonna finish this because it's probably gonna take a while. But I just want to say hello, Spiky, hello, and Ratatouille. If you don't have Facebook, then I don't really know what to tell you. I'm sorry. But anyway, as I was saying, the issue arises when you just go by SP, is that people can lower their SP by taking bots out of their hangar, and then all they have to do is you know, just you run like one mech, and then they're going up against a bunch of really low level people, but they got one mech that's completely maxed out, and they're absolutely ruining everybody. And that's completely unfair, right? But then some people are like, well, you should go by, they should go by like the max level of their SP, like the absolute maximum amount of SP that they could have based on all the equipment that they have in their inventory. That would probably be a bit complicated, but that's possible. But the issue still, even from that, arises that you then get pay to win and free to play. Let's say that there's one pay to win player and one free to play player, okay? This is the issue people run into all the time. But instead of the pay to win player being like, you know, 2,000-3,000 squad power higher than the free to play, they're on the same SP level. Let's assume that they are the exact same SP. Let's say they're both like 4,000, right? And this pay-to-win player, they bought a lot of their stuff. They got up to 4,000 by spending a lot of money, but they're still relatively new to the game. The free-to-play player has been playing for a very long time, and they got 4,000 by grinding and by figuring out the game, and they are a lot more knowledgeable. So between the two, the free-to-play player is going to beat the pay-to-win player every time from skill. And the reason that this is not good is because it discourages people from wanting to spend. It makes people think, well, you know, like, why did I spend all of that money if the first guy I come across who is the same squad power as me is just going to completely ruin me anyway? And I know from the perspective of a free-to-play player, a lot of them think, well, that's good. They should be spending less money. The less money Plarium gets, the better. But that's a toxic attitude, and it's completely ridiculous. Like, at that point, you're just jealous that you don't have it. You're just jealous that you don't have money. And, yeah, like, they're a company. They need to make money. They pay people to keep this thing running, so. Yeah. And it's really not good to have any kind of scenario that discourages people from spending in a general sense. I'm not saying that they aren't like trying to squeeze money out of players, which they are. They're definitely trying to like kind of squeeze money out of players at this point. And I think that the game is a bit more pay to win than it needs to be. But most mobile games, this one included, will always have a pay to win aspect to it, to where, if you don't have the time, you can spend money that you probably earned with your, by spending your time elsewhere. Everybody, you could spend a bunch of time on the game, you could spend a bunch of money on the game, but everybody's got their thing that they have a lot of, or the thing that they have more of, the thing that they're more willing to give up. And for some people it's time, for some people it's money. And I don't think that they should, necessarily attribute one as better than the other. In fact, I saw a lot of reviews under a different mech game on the App Store that was like, this game is like really good. It's like completely free to play. It's there's like it's simple, it's complex, but it's like, it was a great game. Like, it looks good, it works well, but it doesn't require you to spend money at all. And the game has been dead for years, and that's the reason. Is because people going into it, they go into it with a mindset of, okay, well, I'm going to never spend money on this game, so this is going to be my thing for free entertainment. And then that game just ends up dying because they don't have enough money to keep themselves afloat, and they're not making a profit. It ends up costing them more to pay the people making the game than it does to just, well, because they also have to pay for like to keep the servers up too, right? It's not just like employee salaries. There's a lot of other things. There's like the building that all of the employees meet in, like the office building. There's the servers they have to keep running. They have to do all of these other things. They have to pay for all of these other things, and if it's not any more than the amount that they're making, or a worthwhile amount more than the money that they're making, the game's just gonna die. So yes, I know that in most people's ideal world, they wouldn't have to spend money on any of these games, but there is a very good reason as to why a lot of these games kind of require you to, well, I wouldn't say require, but they very much encourage you to spend money. That said, this game is still a lot more pay to win than it needs to be, and I won't argue that. Is Mech Arena pay to win? A bit, yeah. You definitely can spend to get a very high level hanger. I think when it comes down to it, the difference between pay to win and free to play is not necessarily can you spend money to get a high level hanger, which, yeah, you can. Most things you can. Like, let's for example, if any of you have played like Apex Legends or any of these other random what's it called, like battle royale games, you can spend a ton of money on a bunch of skins and characters and things that technically don't do anything, and your performance is based completely on skill and what you come across in the battlefield anyway, because you start with nothing, right? So at the end of the day, that could be considered a pay-to-win thing, just because you can spend a lot of money, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to. In terms of things, though, do you have to spend a lot of money to get a good hanger setup? No. You can get almost all of the top meta items for mechs and weapons for free. You can't get Arc 12, you can't get Missile Rack 12, and you can't get Stalker. I mean, you could get them from like A-Coin events, but I don't count those. So, that's, it's a sizable difference But you could work without those items, right? You could use Arc 10. You could, do what I'm doing and just use random things and still do very well. So at the end of the day, you don't need those top things to have a to have a high-end hanger and to compete in the highest against the highest level players. But I think when it comes down to it, it's a difference of, is it realistically possible for a free-to-play player to get the number of resources that's required to level up all of these mechs and weapons and pilots? And I think the answer is no. I think, yes, the game is fairly pay to win because it is not at all realistically possible for a free-to-play player to ever get like 6,000 SP. It's just it's basically not going to happen. Like, you'd have to play for a stupidly long time. People used to be encouraged to spend money because when matchmaking was XP based, low XP pay to win would face free to play who had way less SP. Yeah. Yeah. But making it strictly XP based meant that, free to play were almost always crapped on. And making it a combination of XP and SP makes it so that it's usually a bit more fair, which is fine, Like, that change was only meant to make free to play's life a little bit better in that respect. People have always been encouraged to spend in this game. Make no mistake. You missed some comments of mine. I am sorry. Anything that okay. Taking one only mech I battle with other low level mechs is not profitable because it gives disadvantage. If that got killed, what will happen? I use my 4,600. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Basically, if you do happen to die, then you're screwed because you only had one thing. But, there's a lot of people who just use, like, rocket mortar kill shot. If they're against a bunch of bots, basically, if it's a setup where if you were just against a bunch of bots, you are gonna survive the entire match, then against a bunch of low-level players, you're gonna survive the entire match too. Like, it is worth it for these people because they get stupid numbers of kills, and it's basically impossible for any of these people to actually take them out. Yes, if there was like a full team on the other side and they were all coordinated and focused down that one guy, then sure, but it's very, very unlikely that anyone's going to be able to manage to do it. Which is what, and not to mention, they usually have like two mechs in their hangar, right? So they have like 2,000, 3,000 total SP, even though their SP should be more like 6,000. Any other things? If there's anything that I missed, feel free to just put it in the chat again. I'm sorry. But I'm not scrolling up trying to find things for like 20 minutes. Ascend Gaming, hello? But they should balance the game by doing a limit or giving more resources for free to play. Doing a limit for what? Honestly, I think that the only thing that could balance the game, and the most realistic thing that they could do to balance the game, is to remove the combat point limit. So that people with a lot of money can spend their money, and people with a lot of time can spend their time, and get constant resources for it. As is, people with a lot of time can't do anything with that time, because once they run out of combat points, they're not getting resources anymore. It's not worth it to spend 70 A coins to get, less than 70 A coins back in resources, not to mention A coins, the premium currency. So there is no real space for people to grind. And I would really like it if there was a way for players to grind. The only way to grind is by playing tournament, but tournament's super boring. It doesn't happen every day. Not to mention, you don't want to play that all the time. You only need to play that for the last like hour or two of the day. Like, you don't need to play that the entire time. If you're playing it for a good like 7 hours straight, then that's just because you're bored. So yeah, like the big thing that they could do, most realistic thing for them to do, is to just remove the limit entirely. Because again, like everybody's got their thing that they can spend, right? And Mech Arena can't really do anything with your time that you give them. So yes, they're going to try to give people more for their money than the time that you necessarily would put in as a free-to-play. They want to encourage people to spend money over time, for sure, because that's how they keep themselves, making a profit. Because they can do something with your money, they can't do anything with your time. But yeah, like I was saying, like like everybody's got their thing that they have, and most games allow you to grind, but this game does not, and it's weird, and I don't like it. Like War Robots allows you to grind. War Robots is like stupidly pay to win, but it's actually less pay to win than Mech Arena is at this point. Well, I guess I can't really say that because the meta for War Robots still changes like every month. Have I bought anything? Yes, I've bought things in the game. How to add on Facebook? You have Facebook? You can send me an invite through that link. To be honest, I kind of hate tournament. The same. Yeah, super boring. I mean, Clash Royale is also pay to win, but it's interesting and fun. I've been playing Battlefront 2. Oh, you mean Star Wars Battlefront 2? That was like my favorite game up until the point where they just made it so that you can't play the regular troopers. The regular troopers are always my favorite ones. When it gets to where like later in like the deathmatch game modes, you basically have to start spawning the special units, and if you don't use your points to spawn special units, then you're basically screwed because they're like 5 times better than the other guys, which is really sad because I don't like them. I don't like special OP things. You know me by now, come on. One more above that. Okay, I'm alright again. I'm sorry. Sorry, Spiky. I want to say that bots in custom matches, they have low AI level compared to as TDM and TDM. They like don't let us score. CPC 1 just capture and win. Yeah. I kind of get where you're going with that. There's like a difference between, it's a lot easier to program a bot to be like, okay, kill this, kill the enemies. If they're in range, shoot at them. It's a lot easier to do that than it is to say, kill these enemies, but also you have to, worry about the objective, and, depending on whether or not a beacon's open, you should go on to it, whether or not you should prioritize running towards the beacon or firing at somebody. It's a lot more complicated, and the bots are a lot more likely to just get confused and do donuts for like 10 seconds. So, yeah. Spiky, I don't really think so. It's not that much difference. I mean, there's a significant difference in the weapons that they use too. Like in CPC, Shadows use like Javelin Rack and RPG, and then in 5v5 the Shadows use Arc Torrents, which are significantly more deadly. So There's like a very big difference in general bot firepower too, to be fair. So that also makes it really seem like bots are um, different between game modes, but a lot of it is just like setups. How to send invite? Click the link. It should bring you to my profile. You probably have to sign in, and then you can go to my profile and invite me. Click add friend or something. I don't know. I don't know exactly what button it is. Should I make a free-to-play Mech Arena APK? But I made it already. It's all free, no offer, no premium, shop, just grind. What's the challenge today? There is no specific challenge at the moment. Right now, I'm just answering a bunch of questions. I mean, one match I wiped the whole enemy team using the basic heavy trooper that doesn't require points towards the end. Oh, believe me, you, DJ. That was the thing that I used. That was, well, I wouldn't say the heavy trooper is what I used the most, but he was one of the guys that I really liked. The classic assault dude with the, I don't remember what weapon it was, but like it wasn't like the heavy one. It was like kind of close range, almost SMG type thing. Man, I love the classic troopers. I wouldn't use the special units, and I'd still get quite a few kills. Like, trust me. But the thing is, like, at the end of the day, when you're playing like a deathmatch game, it's kind of possible to do it, but it's basically impossible to do that in almost any other game mode. And it got so frustrating that these stupid people, just for spawning a Jedi, they can take 1,000 bullets in the back of the head, and then they're just destroying everyone. And as soon as they kill somebody, they get more HP back, which is just bullshit. Just bullshit. Bots should be nerfed. Okay, well, I explained earlier as to why that is not true. People get used to the idea of, okay, you know, this is a game against bots. Bots should be easy. I should be getting like 10 kills per game. This person's getting 10 kills per game, but I'm only getting like 5. In a completely fair game, if the game were 100% fair and everything was equal, and there were, let's assume that, you know, the bots were completely fair, or there was just no bots and it was just all a bunch of players. If it put you in a team of players and it put you against a team of players and every single one of you was the same skill level and squad power, you would get an average of 1 kill per mech. That's 5 kills per match. So no, when you get 2-3 kills and then die by a bot, bots are not OP. You have the wrong mindset. You're thinking of the game as a game that it's really not. At least not supposed to be. Escape, welcome. What other games do I play right now? I have been playing a little bit of Guns Up Mobile. It's a game that I watched somebody else play a while back. And I haven't played that in like a week or so. Tomorrow, I have a Twitch stream planned for Battle of Titans. It's another mech game. It's mobile, but it's just been it's a dead game at this point, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good, I think. But I'm going to try it. I'm going to try playing that on my PC. It may or may not work, but we'll see what happens. Should I give to you that free-to-play APK? But it's a paid before installation. I don't understand what you're even talking about, Spikey. Explain to me what it does and where you got it from. Then I will answer. Oh, the free-to-play APK I made has maxed mechs of bots but don't have pilots. A player who is playing has all legendary pilot. Is that kind of like cheating? I don't understand. Like if you can make it so that bots and or players have more or less in the game than they should have, then that's technically cheating and hacking. And I'm not about it. Compunder, I'm just answering questions in the moment. Sorry. Show us your best hanger. I'm curious because I'm free-to-play player, and I think you also don't spend that much money. You are correct, but you're also incorrect. I've spent quite a bit of money over my like 2 years of playing this game. Like probably over $1,000. But I have not been spending any money in the past like month or so. And I don't really plan on spending any money. I'll buy like the season pass because it's really good bang for your buck. You know, you get a ton. It's only $10, so I'll get that. But that's the only thing that I buy anymore. Cause yeah, I get resources for free because I'm special. I will make my strongest hanger in a minute. Hold on. Escape says Riffle Scheming. I played Battle of Titans. The game was more realistic and strategic, but Mech Arena. But you're right, it's kind of a dead game. Hasn't had an update in ages. Mostly free to play though. Yeah. And that's the game that I was talking about to other people. I was saying like, you know, there needs to be an element of encouraging people to spend. Because if you don't, then, you know, like I was saying earlier, like there was a bunch of comments in that like bunch of like reviews for that game where it was like, you know, there's one currency, it's super free to play friendly, it's absolutely amazing, but you know, it hasn't been updated in like 3 years because people going into it, they go into it with a mindset of, oh, okay, I'm just gonna not spend anything. They don't go into it as like a, you know, this is a good game. You know, if it maybe I'll drop a few bucks on it if it entertains me enough. They go into it with a mindset of, this is a game where I can be completely free to play. I don't need to spend anything, so I'm not going to spend anything. People don't understand that it costs a lot of money to make a game and to keep a game running. So if they're not making a lot of money, they will just simply stop updating their game. For as sad as that might be. Can you do a combo with Bricky Boy, Rock Mortar 10, and Javelin Rack 8? Well, that would sure be interesting. I want to ask that stream moment of Mortar. Superbug. It's like 4 months. It's going on now, but it's soon it's going to be removed. Oh, yeah. Like next major update, it's going to be removed. Or potentially the update that just happened. I actually don't know. Totally agree. You have to make money to keep development rolling. It's just about how good or bad that buy-in is. Yeah. And, I mean, yes, Macarena is much more pay-to-win than it needs to be, and I will continue to, you know, say that to make people, you know, to keep people from getting confused and thinking that I'm saying it's, like, free-to-play friendly or that, you know, it's just as free to play as any other game. It's not true. Like, no, Mech Arena is significantly more pay to win than it needs to be in order to keep itself afloat. But at the same time, Mech Arena did not take off at global launch. I think that this is just their way of making the most amount of money they can before it dies. To be completely honest with you. The global launch did not go well. It wasn't received well. There was like a lot of different factors that were just unfortunate and out of Plarium's control. And yeah, like at that point, they kind of just have to be like, okay, well, you know, the only thing that's really going to get them at that point is, you know, word of mouth. And That's not necessarily going to help that much. All right. So real quick, I can get to like almost 6,000, I think, if I... no, I don't want that. I want like... Let's do you. Probably... long arm 12s. And then you. Because, yeah, you're my... Oh, no, actually. I could do missile rack 12s. That would be slightly higher. So my long arm 12s are high level. Yeah, I'm 45 away from 6,000. I'm free to play. I never paid, and this is my ID. Check it. Alright. I know people are going to start sending me their IDs now. We'll probably do hangar reviews, but later. Do not send me your IDs right now. I'm not going to check them. I'll check this one just for the sake of it. I think I've seen you around at some point. So, were you using the matchmaking bug where, like, you go up against lower squad power players because you unequipped a lot of your stuff? If that's true, then that's not really impressive. I was doing that task. What task? There's no task that requires you to take out most of your bots. Yes, matchmaking for low players. Wow. That's low, man. I don't think anybody has the right to complain about pay to win if they're going to like cheat the matchmaking system so that they get easy games. Because they're exactly what the problem is for lower SP players. Regardless of whether you win 9 battles in a row. You know, I don't really care what your excuse is. It's still cheating. Not impressed. Matchmaking bug not working with me. Well, good. I'm actually slightly disappointed that you tried it. But, good. Escape, you talking about the butter dash? The kill shot dash glitch is not working. I've heard that, but I can tell you right now that there has never been a time in my life